Right, ladies and gentlemen, I would very much like a very warm welcome to you today to the launch of Devo Plus. Do you know, I have found it very difficult to understand why the one option in this constitutional debate that seems to command the most public support in the polls has not yet been championed by any significant organisation as the best solution for Scotland, as well as for the rest of the United Kingdom. Therefore, the formation of a group made up from members of different parties and the wider community to develop and promote Devo Plus is an important move to address the imbalance between what has so far been mostly a political battle between independents and the status quo. There should be 3 steps in getting any constitutional reform. Step 1 should be a debate on the vision that we have for Scotland. Step 2 is to set out what sort of solutions would be best help to create that vision. And then step 3 is the process in how we get there. So far, we seem to have got it in totally the wrong order, with far too much focus on the process and little current debate on the end vision or the different options. So, let's start with the vision. We believe there are 4 ingredients that Scotland needs to achieve its potential. First, Scotland needs to maintain a healthy relationship with the rest of the UK. We share the same island, the same head of state. The rest of the UK is Scotland's largest trading partner, and most of us would feel more comfortable to keep the pound within a monetary union. Second, we need to reduce the dependence of the Scottish Parliament on grants. At present, the UK has one of the most centralised revenue-raising systems in the EU, with over 90% of all public revenue set and collected by Westminster and passed back to the constituent parts of the UK by means of grants. Third, we must ensure that politicians at all levels of government are properly responsible for delivering efficient public services and an environment in which to grow their economies. And fourth and lastly, we need to have a system that is flexible and recognises the different parts of the UK have different economies and social environments. There are a number of options that are open to us. But if an option is going to last, it needs to be based on a clear philosophy that everyone can understand. Devo Plus is based on a simple philosophy that each level of government should broadly be responsible for raising the revenues to cover its own expenditure. As the leader of this group, Jeremy Purvis, is going to go through the background to Devo Plus and to the other different options, and explain why we think Devo Plus is the best option for Scotland. Now, Reform Scotland is helping to set up the group because we wish to inform the debate about Scotland's constitutional future that will dominate the next couple of years. Within the philosophy of matching revenue powers with spending powers, the group will develop the work already done by Reform Scotland over the last 3 years, culminating in its most recent report called Devolution Plus, published last September. The initial members of the group, as you can see from this slide, come from a wide range of backgrounds, both political and non-political, and I'd very much like to thank them for agreeing to become involved. The members of the group are myself as chairman, Jeremy Purvis as the leader of the group, Duncan McNeil, Labour MSP, who unfortunately is chairing a parliamentary committee this morning, Alex Fergusson, Conservative MSP, and Tavish Scott, Liberal Democrat MSP, who are with us today, Himara Khan, the Chief Officer of the Scottish Youth Parliament, and 2 prominent businessmen, Malcolm Fraser and Alex Hammond-Chambers. I'd like to stress that each member is participating as an individual and not as a representative of any organisation to which they might belong. Membership of the group does not imply support for Reform Scotland's work in other areas. The group will develop and promote Devo Plus as the best way forward in creating a healthy and sustainable working relationship between Westminster and Holyrood. Now, lastly, I'd like to touch on process. Having said that it was the third step, I suspect it will be the first question asked here today. If you go back a few years, independence meant a republic with a Scottish head of state and a separate currency, where now the SNP talk of monetary and social unions, together with a union of the crowns. At the other end of the scale, there were fundamentalist unionists that talked about no extension of powers. And yet, both Alistair Darling and David Cameron in recent weeks have talked about greater fiscal powers in Scotland. Politicians love to talk about the direction of travel. Well, if you look at the direction of travel from both ends, you meet at Devo Plus in the middle. So for us, the important thing is that we move to Devo Plus and not how we get there. I'd now like to hand over to Jeremy, who's going to explain why Devo Plus is the best solution for Scotland.